Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Football Wolf here, and welcome to episode 3 of the wolfcast. Already, this thing is longer than Kim Kardashian's marriage. And right now, I'm on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm looking up video game based movies. Have you ever seen one? Do you want to see one? Yes? No? Whatever? Blah blah blah. What's the worst one you've ever seen? Put it on in the comments below. And I'm going to go through the go through this list here. Okay, first of all, I'm going to go through these in order of year they were released. Okay, first of all, 1993 and the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Rotten Tomatoes score, 14%. This movie was just terrible. I saw it on DVD. Also the Nostalgia Critic touched up on it. Also the Angry Video Game Nerd touched up on it. It was just so bad because they go from this like bright magical land of the Mushroom Kingdom, and they end up all the way in this like New York looking slum type thing. It just didn't match at all. And the second one I got here is from 1994, Double Dragon, which had a score total of nil. That's right, no percent. Again, they tried to make this a good movie, but they failed so epically. If you don't believe me, just look up Double Dragon. Just look up the Dragon Double. Sorry. Go on Nostalgia Critic and look up the Double Dragon review, and he'll explain everything. The next one is Street Fighter. I guarantee you a majority of the audience have probably heard about how bad Jean-Claude Van Damme's acting is in this. Yeah, and also it's a film so bad it formed so many memes that it actually became very, very hilarious. Okay, next on the list, the first one of these isn't really bad, but the Mortal Kombat movies. Mortal Kombat 1 was, well, not bad for what it was. It was just basically it was a fighting tournament. And then the second one came out with Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which on Metacritic has got 11% out of about 40 odd critics, and Rotten Tomatoes gave it an average of about 6%. Remember, Rotten Tomatoes is actually the British version of Metacritic. Yes, and Mortal Kombat Annihilation was just terrible. For 1997, basically the background green screen is just obvious. They changed almost all the actors from the first one, and like halfway through the movie, the guy playing Raiden gets a haircut. Oh, that, and apparently they've also had some bad loopholes and also bad plot twists from the first one. And also half the actors had to change. Oh, that, and also like very, very bad costumes, also bad cameos from the series, and also a pointless fight where there's two women fighting in the mud. God knows why, it's just there. And next on the list, you've probably never heard of this one, but this is in here anyway. It is Wing Commander from 1999 with an average score of 11% of both Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, believe it or not, I have actually seen this movie, and it stars the same two guys who played I gotta remember his name. Basically, one of the guys who played Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo movies. I'm dead serious. A Wing Commander film, and it was directed by the guy who actually made the game. How embarrassing is that? Also, the Kilrathi, basically shaved cats. They are the enemy of the film, but there is no physical, like, I haven't played the game, so I can't really like figure. And all I know about the game is it's a space fighter. You use spaceships and stuff. And the next one, which is the most famous one, is Lara Croft Tomb Raider, starring Angelina Jolie. And these movies aren't too bad, but they do deserve to actually have better production value. God, this was so badly written. And the next one is Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. Yes, a lot of you are probably going to troll saying, "What the hell is that?" Yeah. Well, Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within was a separate project funded by Square Enix Software, during the year of 2001, and it took 3 years to make, and it actually has some big name talent. It actually has Alec Baldwin and also James Woods in it, for Christ's sake. And how can that fail? Well, it did. It had nothing to do with the Final Fantasy video games. but apparently it was set in space, and and apparently the main character has to look for 8 signs of life in order to create a cure for this thing called Pulse. Or am I confusing that with the 13th game? I don't know. Either way, the Spirits Within wasn't too bad, but with a budget of about 120 million US dollars, you would have thought they'd done a little better than this. It actually lost 47 million at the box office. How unbelievable is that? Okay, now the next one is again famous, thanks to Mila Joe. Damn it! Basically, the Resin Evil films. These two are all, well, terrible. Due to the fact that the characters don't look like anything or even sound like anything like they do in the game, and they even got a Ukrainian supermodel to play the main character. All that, and again an Irish guy to play Albert Wesker was just laughable. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Paul W.S. Anderson, but if you're going to try and convince us that you're a fan of these things, at least make them good. The next one we have here is House of the Dead. Yes, it's the first film on this list so far by infamous German director Uwe Boll. And it almost had nothing to do with the games. All it was just a bunch of teens on a party island, and then they happened to get attacked by zombies. With bad plot devices and also very bad camera editing. Including one scene where a guy gets off a boat, it's raining, and then he goes to the next scene, not raining. You see, folks? Okay, and also on this list as well is hang on, if I can find it. Alone in the Dark, yet another film by Uwe Boll. Again, having almost nothing to do with the games. Oh, and don't give me that bullshit about that piece of shit film, that was based in New York and that was made in 2008, which you can now get for like $2 down at the local dime store. Seriously, Alone in the Dark is a terrible movie. Getting absolute piss poor grades on both Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. And of course having this like so-called Christian faction go into it, and also washed up actors Christian Slater and also Tara Reid, as well with that one guy who almost consistently has a career, Stephen Dorff. It was so bad that the Nostalgia Critic actually had to bring in Linkara and Spoony One to actually review the piece of shit. It's actually, till this day, according to a lot of people, as the worst, and I mean the worst, video game based movie of all time. But then there's the next one. Doom. Getting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson basically to play a Marine was basically one of the stupidest ideas you could have done. Especially when his acting is, well, a little bit lame. Sorry, Dwayne. Yeah, and also getting Carl Urban to play the actual Doom guy. I don't know, he looks nothing like the guy on the main hub interface. And also the cameo of the BFG, or as the film calls it, the Bioforce gun. Yeah, and instead of being I know where they got the idea from to actually like have it set on Mars where there's like science experiments going on. Obviously, their inspiration came from Doom 3. A game which, like this film, was incredibly disappointing and actually just surprisingly gained a lot of money. Yeah, back to the film. Yeah, but instead of it being based off the original 2 games, where it's basically where they're on Mars, but it's like you're fighting the demons of hell. Instead, there's apparently this virus that goes around that apparently has affected a few scientists, and has created basically a monster. And the only bit that's actually reminiscent of a part in the actual game Doom is actually the first-person shooter bit. Yeah, and that scene only lasts about 3 minutes. All that, and it's in the credits as well, but that's not as good. Alright, next one, another Uwe Boll film. We got Blood Rain, probably Uwe Boll's worst, in my opinion, his worst for his wares. Just, if you look at the costumes, the wigs are just too fake. All that, and it almost has nothing to do with the game. Seriously, Uwe Boll, can you do better, please? Also, the fight scenes are just so bad. They actually look so generically choreographed. It's comical. Okay, back to the next. Okay, back to the next one. Silent Hill. This movie to me wasn't actually that bad. It had some elements from the game, especially like Pyramid Head, and also the fact that the siren comes in, and also all the world, and also everything looks creepy as hell. And also, you crash and you end up in the town. Yeah, I'll admit that this film was not too bad, but they could have done better. Unlike the next one, Dead or Alive. Oh, god damn it. Basically, a game featuring women with very odd bodies, like also based off a game which features women with odd bodies. Yeah, really, movie, really. Yeah, I have nothing to say about this movie. It was just terrible, 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 terrible. And now to the next one. Postal. Yeah, another Uwe Ball flick which barely earned any money at the box office. They could have done a little bit better with this, but you can laugh at the movie for being a parody. Just because it's so politically incorrect and so awkward to watch, yet it was so funny at the same time that actually Uwe Ball himself said it was one of his favorite films to actually make. It's not his best, and to me, it has to be his best film. Yes, I said it. Postal is his best film, but then again, that's not really saying much. Sorry, Mr. Ball. And the next one, Hitman. Again, a lot of you have probably heard of this, and that is really because it was one of those films again which came out and actually featured sorry, and featured Timothy Olyphant. That's right, the bad guy of Die Hard 4. Yeah, and this movie, it didn't feel anything like the game. Yeah, there was assassinations, and there was the way of like sniping from rooftops and everything. But the way it failed, it just became a friggin' Rambo flick. And there was so many explosions, you wouldn't believe it was a Hitman movie. You would believe it was just, I don't know, just another Rambo film. It was just guns blazing everywhere. I don't really remember that from any of the games. All I remember was this stealthy assassin in a suit named Agent 47. And next one, In the Name of the King, a dungeon siege tale which features Jason Statham. Yeah, again, Uwe Ball, don't bother. Next. And then there's Max Payne movies featuring Mark Wahlberg. I don't know much about this since I didn't watch this film. Next. Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. This was so terrible, I don't want to comment. Next. The Tekken movie. Again, I haven't seen it. And then there's Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, which actually wasn't that bad. And also, sorry. Yeah, it wasn't that bad of a movie actually. Watching it in the theaters, just watching it with a basic 3D gimmick was actually not bad. Plus, to this day, it's the highest earning video game based movie. Yeah, and so what if they have that guy from The Day After Tomorrow? He actually looks okay with that long hair. And actually the movie wasn't too bad either, as they actually made an original story which they didn't have to do anything with the game. Okay, and now, yeah, well of course the next two that are apparently coming out include Silent Hill Revelation, which is basically meant to be either a spin-off or a sequel to Silent Hill, and also Resin Evil Retribution, because Paul W.S. Anderson can't stop milking this series dry. And also Mila Jovovich yes, that's her name. Mila Jovovich basically has only little career in that film. So basically we're gonna have, that's my shit list for this year. Okay, we're going to go on to the next episode will be this Sunday, and will be episode 4, which will be I don't know yet. It'll be a surprise. Okay, peace out.